All right, almost 19 minutes past 7 here on Morning Live. Great to have you with us. Let's go back now to Cape Town. Now, it's the last day of the three-day conference hosted by the Competition Commission. And it's been a conference that's meant to look into issues of competition. The theme this year is the contribution of competition policy to economic growth. So I can imagine the amount of debates that have been taking place. Well, Bulelani Phillips, our reporter down in Cape Town, has been following this, and he's been joined by a couple of guests this morning. And let's see who we'll be chatting to now. Bulelani, it's over to you again.
Thanks, Leanne, and again, welcome back to the V&A waterfront for this policy conference of competition law. It's actually attracted a lot of international guests who are actually specialists in their own right in terms of competition law. Again, yesterday we saw Economic Development Minister Ibrahim Patel giving the keynote address, and today we do expect that the Judge President of the Competition Appeal Court, Justice Dennis Davis, is going to be one of the panelists that will be speaking today. And of course, what would be this conference without the involvement of the social partners? And now I'm joined by a human rights activist, Mr. Nyembezi, who has been involved in these issues of collusion as back as 2006 with the issue of the bread price fixing. In terms of South African legislation, do you think enough is being done to clamp down on this anti-competitive behavior?
Oh, we have a long way to go to realize the issue of a level field for competition with a lot of gains this side and a lot of setback this side, because even though we managed to amend the Competition Act, communities have not been able to benefit from those amendments because of the delay that came about, because since 2009 the act that was passed, but it has been implemented in piecemeal only recently. For example, we would have loved to benefit from those amendments to ensure that companies that are repeat offenders in terms of competition, uncompetitive behavior and collusion, they are not allowed to get state tenders. Because that act was meant to prevent things like that, and also to ensure that the directors of companies are sent to jail. They are held personally liable for their uncompetitive behavior.
And this kind of behavior, obviously, it has an impact on poor communities, particularly on issues of staple food. Now, how do you think we can be able to strengthen the tools that are there to ensure that they benefit poor communities?
Well, there's a clarion call on government to ensure that, for example, the fines that are levied to these companies are not just put in one big basket that is used anyhow by the Treasury. The fines that are levied from these companies are supposed to be ring-fenced and be used for poverty alleviation programs. We are struggling to resuscitate food, school nutrition programs, the food programs for infants in terms of the healthcare. We are struggling to ensure that the basket of basic food items is affordable. So the call on government is to ensure that those funds are ring-fenced and used for poverty alleviation programs.
Now, as civil society, what role are you playing in terms of trying to detect and also report this kind of behavior?
We keep on advocating on these issues because we make communities aware that companies are not supposed to artificially increase the price of food. We are aware that, for example, social grants are used largely to buy food, and when the food prices are artificially increased, it means more communities go to bed without food, more families. And so we have been calling on the Department of Social Development to be quite sensitive on this issue when they give out food parcels, to ensure that food that is procured is food that is of good quality and that the prices are not artificially increased. We have also been looking at the issue of mobilizing civil society to say that government must put more money on that program, because civil society organizations are struggling. For example, when we had to take the matter to court on the bread price fixing, it cost a lot of money for civil society, and communities and individuals cannot speak on themselves. So we want to ensure that government puts money on that.
Lastly, before I let you go, what advice would you give to the viewers at home and consumers in terms of where can they report this kind of behavior, and who they can go to?
Communities must be very vigilant in terms of food prices that have gone up, whether it's grain, whether it's bread or other items, and they should they find anything that doesn't go right, they must report the issue to the NGOs next to them. There are organizations such as the Black Sash. There is also the Human Rights Commission that we're also working with on these issues, and also other forms of Sangoko, for example. It is where you need to report these things, because reporting these issues ensures that we take them up with the companies that are concerned, so that the price of food can be affordable, the price of healthcare can be affordable, and so that we can hold companies that are involved in coalition liable and accountable.
Mr. Nkosi Khulile Nyembezi, who is a human rights activist, has been involved in these kind of battles for quite a few years, and of course he's going to be participating in some of the debates that will be happening here later this morning. Over 300 delegates will be here on this final day to come and see and discuss the issues that can be used to actually clamp down on this anti-competitive behavior. In the end, it's back to you again in the studio.